Wilfred. I know you're involved in an exciting new project that I wanted to give you the opportunity to plug. Get us up to speed.
Sure, yeah, thanks. So, what you're talking about, I'm one of the founders of what's probably the first large anti-woke company, which is called Unified Solutions America. Anyone in the audience who wants to check that out can go to unifiedsolutionsAmerica.com. That's just one phrase together, Unified Solutions America, USA. But a bunch of us really came together and decided we liked this idea. It's myself, Kevin Jackson, formerly of Fox, who I think a lot of you guys know from kind of the African American business world, but Brooks Crenshaw, formerly of the Navy SEAL teams, Intel guy there. The three of us are the founders, but we're working with Jason Reilly from the Wall Street Journal, Ian Rowe from Vertex Academy, James Lindsay's going to do some consulting with us. Local distance, Michael Young, the philosopher, blah, blah, blah. But a bunch of people, Colin Wright, the guy who went viral for saying there are only two sexes, the biologist, no, Charles Love, a number of other people. But the focus of the business is that we actually go into companies and remove a lot of the crap that's gotten lodged there during the past sort of decade or more and which is now illegal per a lot of the things the Trump administration is saying. So there are really three components. Like we have AI tools that can scan your business praxis, your hiring, your material, all that stuff for a lot of the DEI language, a lot of the policies that have been added by almost everyone, by every corporate client we've looked at. The second piece, which is really, I think the core thing that'll appeal, and I'd be interested in talking to some of you guys about, but is that we can come in and explain what's really been happening with Michael, with James, with me, with Kevin, what the roots of this stuff are, what critical theory is, why you've been privilege walking and putting your pronouns in your signature and exactly proportionately hiring by race for 15 years and so on. So we have day-long seminars that we can do. We can discuss race, we can discuss gender, what's critical theory, who was Michel Foucault. And again, if you go to unifiedsolutionsAmerica.com, check out our advisory board, check out our consultants. Frank McCormick is another one, but it's a pretty impressive roster of people. And the third thing, we can actually replace what you've been doing in terms of hiring, training, promotions with purely quantifiable metrics that are based to some extent on what the military's elite teams do that Brooks and some of the former SEALs, et cetera, that we expect to work with are putting together. And so that's the basic business model. I will note right now we're doing what's called a Reg CF IPO, kind of last pitch, but that's stock-based fundraising, essentially. That's not a charitable donations project. We're releasing 10% of our common stock. You can buy it and I mean, we expect to be a very profitable company. We're looking at our first Fortune 500 clients right now. We're on the phones pitching clients. Myself and Kevin have very high level backgrounds in sales. We expect to get some of them. So, I mean, we expect that people, well, we can't say we expect you'll make money if you invest, but there's a very good chance if for the price of a steak dinner you get involved, you will be successful along with us. So if you go to the website, the button invest if you want to help fight DEI, that's right there on the front page. You can also look up Equity Street, EQUITY Street. That's our broker, very well known, kind of conventional company. They're running the IPO, the Reg CF IPO. If you look up Equity Street and Unified Solutions America, you'll find that. If that's something you feel you can safely do, you're ready for that right now, you can get involved. But the basic idea is we need companies to go in there for a decade or more. People have been terrified they're going to get sued if they don't do this crap, moving away from the sales pitch. I think the reality is now the reverse. Like we've seen fair admissions. If you are hiring and firing because of race, you can now get sued. You can now face penalties for that reason. We want to bring that home to the business world. So now, how do you get rid of it? If you have last single line, but University of Michigan, and I'm an Illinois man, ILLINI, but they had 240 people on staff just to administer DEI. They had a separate building full of these boys, 240 people. Everyone made six figures because they thought it would be rude to pay a black executive less than that. If you've got that, by the way, as a black executive, I don't mind that rule in corporate America. But if you have that kind of thing in your business, you to some extent you've got a cancer in your business. How do you get rid of it? We think, all banter aside, we can help you with that. So that is the idea of the business. That's Unified Solutions America.
It sounds like you're offering colonics to human resource departments, uh, because
Well, I don't
and
think
they
human
need it.
resources. Well, I don't think HR is going to be our friend in the company. When
Yeah,
we
no.
look at who's trying to bring us in, it's what we find is that a lot of C-level guys read kind of that McKinsey report that came out a few years ago that said that DEI correlates with profitability. And my take on that would be, and I'm willing to tell CEOs this for free, all that means is if you're a big profitable corporation, you can afford to spend a lot of money on BS. So you find that everything of that kind, belonging, charitable giving correlates with profitability. But if you're one step down, if you're a second mover, hard charging company, and you start spending money on that stuff, you're going to go broke. You don't have those kind of resources. So we are going to go to that second tier of companies like Fortune 1000 and maybe advise them to get rid of it. And we expect HR to passionately resist that. Maybe that brings up the question: why do you have why do you have 50 HR people if you have 600 employees? There's a lot of stuff that's going on in business that may not necessarily make a whole lot of sense. If you're a shoe company, your goal is to sell shoes, as Mr. Michael Jordan said many years ago. It's not really to do charitable outreach to the Hispanic American community or whatever.
It how confident do you feel, like, let's say uh, JD Vance or someone off the Trump tree isn't our next president, that policies and laws and things that Trump and these guys have installed could get overturned? It's kind of seems like you're betting a little bit that Trump and the administration and the political people going against DEI, that's going to last beyond Donald Trump.
I mean, I will tell you personally, I always overpay my taxes. Like, I don't want to wind up in a situation personally where I'm, dealing with the consequences of that. No, I do think that, first of all, I can't stand the kind of threats that are made in politics to people that are just trying to earn a living. Like, you've seen Susan Rice, for example, try to make these threats like, if we are back in power, we're going to come after companies that are following these encouragements to get rid of DEI. The two things I would say about that are, first, that's a good reason for people in business to back Vance or Rubio or whoever the GOP contender is. I mean, right now that's a 55% positive chance to win on Polymarket. The second thing is, I think there really are protections for a lot of this stuff. Like, if you look at fair admissions, pure affirmative action in academia, and there's commentary on business in that case as well, is or should be gone. So it's not this isn't just an executive order matter. Like, the institutions of society are really starting to turn against this stuff. And we think there is a base that we can pivot on when it comes to that. So, like, Kim Herman, who works for one of the major right-wing legal centers in the country, is on our advisory board, and we are getting legal recommendations for the kind of the baseline that's associated with everything we're doing. So, I mean, if you're in business, one, you should probably throw some money at the Vance campaign, but also, two, there is a legal Supreme Court level core behind the things that we're backing, and also, I think that politicians tend to be kind of craven cowards, certainly on the Dem side. One of the big things behind support for trans rights, quote unquote, or for DEI, was that before people really understood the impact of a lot of this stuff, when pre-Elon Twitter, there wasn't a lot of honest discussion of a lot of this stuff. You could produce figures showing that most people were in support. I was kind of rambly on that answer there. But now I think people have pretty openly turned against this. And so you're seeing major Dem candidates like Gavin Newsom trying really, really hard to pivot to the center. and
I'll give
saying
you the
things.
example. We just talked about it today, Wilfred, on the show with Danny Cannell. You should look this up. A black NFL executive, Ryan Poles, general manager of the Chicago Bears, he's at the combine and he just basically said the Rooney Rule is crazy or strange. This is a black general manager for the Chicago Bears, and if you go look at the NFL, just their last head coaching hiring cycle, NFL ownership basically just said, "Hey, man, we're done. We're just going to hire whoever we believe in. We're not going to force black coaches down our franchise's throats." And so you're right. Uh, when the NFL seems to be pivoting and people have had it, Unified Solutions America. I think this is a great idea. I'm hearing it for the first time. This is my honest, authentic reaction. It's necessary. We've had. I wish I could had thought of this beforehand, but this is like the natural boomerang backlash. You know the fat woman that was in like the onesie or a Lululemon outfit preaching
Yeah.
CRT in front of a chalkboard on a college campus. I knew there would be a backlash to this. I didn't know that Wilfred would be leading that. Uh, but a bunch of men running in and going, "Hey, that fat woman that was just in here, she was crazy. Here's the truth." We need that everywhere. So good luck to you guys, and we'll be monitoring this and talking about this into the future.